Great, fantastic. Thank you. Thank you so much for taking the time to meet with me today.
Thank
Uh,
you.
I
Very
really
nice.
Thank you.
appreciate it. I was quite moved by the film, and I have some questions for both of you, if you're willing to respond to them. Um, so first off, I'd like to ask for both of you, Alhan and Hazar. Forgive me if I'm messing up pronunciation, and feel free to correct me anywhere. Um, this is a fairly heavy film, and I'd like to know how you kind of kept the mood on set. Did you try to stay in the zone and try to stay focused and dark, or did you try to bring levity in between cuts and between setups and try and decompress on set?
Ye well, first of all, we it was a very tight crew. It was a big crew, and we had, I would even say, comrades. There was a big camaraderie. Everybody knew that we were racing against time because we were shooting it on a shoestring budget for a film like this, and everybody was working. It's not like, everybody was each department was helping each other. Like, the grip was carrying helping the art department. The ADs were helping, getting painting the walls. So there was a big camaraderie. And then even off set, some nights we slept at the Highlands. We were like a crew of friends making a film, because you have to understand, a film like this with this kind of budget, there is no other way to do it. But I think for me personally, I was very stressed. I was also one of the producers. There was a lot of weight emotionally, and there was a lot of responsibility. So I was carrying a lot of, I was wearing a lot of shoes on set. That was a heavy burden. But I mean, we tried to keep. I think Hazar would be much more objective to answer that question.
Uh, Almost, I can say that because we kept on listening to, especially Fire Walk with Me's theme musics at the set, and you know, connecting. There wasn't any child that I'm playing with. I was just pretending and connecting with your inner thoughts is sometimes it seemed very challenging to me at the beginning, but then it wasn't that hard, like, because I was staying inside myself all the time, with the flow, going with the flow. It was much more easier to comparing to a crowded movie from that aspect. And so I was never disconnected, and the land also helped to so much because I never said this to you either, Alpan, but when I first read this script, you can see and feel, of course, because it names the landscape, but you see this dark green color in the script, and you uh, want I just accepted the movie because of also this. I wanted to be in that dark green color, so the atmosphere was so strong that you cannot even think of being disconnected. Like, you live there, you stay, you are stuck in the moment, if it's right
Yeah, I
word
agree.
to.
If we would have shot it on the soundstage, I don't think we would get the same mindset and everything. Yeah.
Wow, thank you. I appreciate that insight. So then I kind of have a follow-up to that for based on what you said, which is, did you shoot mostly in order to try to preserve that emotion in that environment?
Yeah,
Because Ghoul goes through such a major arc throughout the film.
well, that's always the dream of the talent and the filmmaker to shoot, but unfortunately, it never ever happens. But we try to do it as much as possible. But there's weather changes, there's logistic stuff. There's other cast members there, schedule conflicts. So it's and as I said, we shot it in a very short amount of time. So. We tried to do it, but as much as possible. But no, we didn't shoot it in a chronological order.
No, I guess I was thinking mostly of that third act, which is such a transformative thing. I was wondering if you managed to do that at the
I,
end to
uh, Here's the thing: the third act was mainly left towards the end of the shoot, but
Mm.
the first beginning scene we couldn't shoot
Yes.
because
I forgot about that.
yeah. So we shot the film exactly 2 years ago at this time. It was end of May, early June. And usually it's a rainy season in that area, but it didn't, we never had a single drop of rain. And so we couldn't shoot the opening scene. And then we shot it in November, like 4 months later. But Hazar is such an I was like scared because everybody was out of the mood about everybody was out of the mindset. But this is the blessing of for a filmmaker to work with a talent like Hazar. We rolled the camera and she was exactly where we left off. We didn't need even one take to register where we left off. So we put the camera. I had doubts. I wasn't even in the same mindset, but the camera rolls. It was exactly like we shot like a day before. So yeah,
wow.
shot the
Did you
opening sequence with
Thank
the car
you.
and everything in November, like four.
wow. Um, this is a very personal story for you as a writer, and I imagine Hazar to take on that personal nature of it must be difficult to embody, a character that is in such a personal script as I read in the press notes. Did you both feel any kind of catharsis, any kind of release when the filming was done? Did it trigger something for you? Was it
I-
hard to take this weight off your back at the end?
For me, yes,
Mm,
of course.
yeah,
It,
Alphan should begin.
very, very. It's probably the most not only the most personal film, but probably the most personal thing I've ever done in my life. So, and there were some scenes that were really very, very emotional for me, and I think the journey still goes on, and I'm very, very excited to share this very personal work finally with an audience, and that's going to be very soon next weekend.
Yes. Hazar, did you get any instruction from Alphan about, from the personal nature of this, about how to play it, relating to your
Uh,
to his mother, or how did you approach that?
I kept asking these kind of questions to him all the time, like, why did you describe the kid as a monster? Like, you got to tell me what is it in your mind? But,
Who is this maniac
but
filmmaker that I'm working with?
yeah, why? Because he's like, this is very personal to me, and I'm like, so why did you make the baby a monster? Uh, but yeah, we talked a lot about the unconditional love fact, actually, and I don't want to sound, weird, but this movie is about a lot about a mother and a woman on her own. So these emotions were familiar to me, like to every woman almost. It is. It might be a horror movie. We can call it that way, but all these things seem pretty normal to me, like to every woman, if you consider the baby as any baby.
Thank you. That's a really great insight. I
Yeah, and
appreciate
also
that.
to add just one quick thing, it is about motherhood and unconditional love. It's a
Mhm.
very personal thing, but in that context, it's not specifically about my personal or my mother, but it's about that feeling that I got from my mother. It's about motherhood that I would because it's personal, but it's not specifically about my mother. That's the thing.
Interesting. Okay. I
Yeah.
appreciate that because reading your notes, I kept thinking of the press notes. I kept thinking of the movie Sentimental Value, which is
No, it has a huge sentimental value, but it's also a very idiosyncratic story if you look at it in its own way. And it's more about I would say about motherhood, but yeah, of course my personal experiences are the blueprint and the starting point for the screenplay.
so I mentioned I'm coming up on my time here, but I have one final
It's
question to.
the story of all of us.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah. Just
I,
keep.
I definitely felt a universality to it while watching it. I felt a connection to my own mother and everything, and I think it's a wonderful movie that I can't wait for people to see and react to. So I was quite moved. Um, and I imagine I'm coming up on time here, so I have one final question, which is I saw your talk with the Twisted Spine bookstore, where they asked you to name some books that you liked that inspired you, and you named Rosemary's Baby, Carrie, and The Exorcist. And I was wondering if Hazar, if there was any assigned reading or assigned viewing you were given by Alphan before this movie. I know you mentioned that you were listening to Twin Peaks on set to get into the zone.
Yeah. Too many movies like Possession, Under the Skin, and what else? Like many of them.
Firewalk with
I
me.
got into the genre with Alpan. I can say that because I wasn't familiar at all. Like I love it, but now I love it after I get to know it properly.
Did you know quite what you were getting into with all the gore and all the violence when you were signing up for a horror movie?
Sensing it, I was yeah. Uh, from my observations, I was feeling it, but I had no idea, like, because I don't even have an example in front of me. And also in Turkey, as he said, like, we're not used to this. We don't make too many horror movies, and this kind of horror movies with a taste like Alpan's, and
Well, I think you've
so
made
it was pretty new
I think you've made quite
and
a wonderful one.
scary.
I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to me today. I look
Thank
forward
you very
to
much.
seeing your reception at Tribeca. Thanks for sitting down with Macabre Daily. Again, I'm Ryan from Macabre
Thank
Daily.
you. Thanks,
Thank you
Ryan.
so much, Alphan and Hazar, and I hope you have a great rest of your tour in New York for this film.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having us.